is Omondi, Otieno, and this is KUTV Primetime News. It is a Tuesday, the 27th day of September, the year 2022. Tonight, we have a lot in store for you in matters happening in the country and, of course, beyond our borders. We have seen today the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, appointing new cabinet secretaries to his cabinet. And, of course, this has seen a total changeover of the people who have served in the dockets of the cabinet secretaries. So what will Kenyans be in for as they start to disseminate their duties in the various dockets where they've been appointed? Just a lot for you tonight. But first, let's take a look at the stories making headlines tonight. President William Ruto chairs his first cabinet meeting at State House. Dr. William Ruto also names new cabinet secretaries to serve in his administration. DCI boss George Kinoti resigns, paving way for new appointment in President Ruto's government. Kenyan lawyer Paul Gisheru with bribery case at ICC found dead at his home in Macrine.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Omondi, Otieno.
Welcome to the broadcast, and I'm not alone. I'm in the company of Macrine Achieng, who is our sign language interpreter tonight. You're streaming live this broadcast on our social media platforms on Facebook, KUTV Kenya, on Twitter, KUTV_Kenya. It's also live on YouTube at KUTV Kenya Live. Now, President William Ruto today chaired his first cabinet meeting at State House, Nairobi, since taking his oath of office 2 weeks ago. The meeting brought together cabinet secretaries of the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration in order to inform the president about the respective cabinet files.
Hello. Good morning. Morning, Waziri. How are you?
2 weeks after his inauguration as the fifth president of the Republic of Kenya, President William Ruto on Tuesday, September 27th, chaired his first cabinet meeting at State House, Nairobi. The meeting, which was attended by serving cabinet secretaries from retired President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, was aimed at informing the president of the various files of the relevant cabinets. Among those who attended include CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i of Internal Affairs, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya, Joe Musheru of ICT, CS Devolution Eugene Wamalwa, CS Sports Amina Mohammed, Head of Public Service Joseph Kinyua, and Attorney General Paul Kihara. The meeting comes just about a week after the cabinet secretaries were restricted from leaving the country without the president's permission and were further required to explain the reasons for their leave. The cabinet secretaries are expected to serve until the president appoints his own ministers, who will serve with him at least for the next 5 years. For KUTV News, I am Eugene Mayabi.
And police officers are investigating the cause of death of lawyer Paul Gisheru. Gisheru was found dead in his current residence on Monday night. Information about his demise was relayed by his family members and the police, who took his body to Lee Funeral Home awaiting postmortem.
Lawyer Paul Gisheru's death comes 2 months after he surrendered to International Criminal Court in Netherlands. Gisheru was a person of interest in the International Criminal Court, where he was representing President William Ruto against the charges he was facing of taking part in the killings that followed the 2007 post-election violence. Gisheru was accused alongside Philip Bett of bribing and intimidating witnesses not to testify on the crimes against humanity that President William Ruto and former radio presenter Joshua Arap Sang faced. This prompted the International Criminal Court to issue a warrant of arrest against Gisheru and Bett in the year 2015. Later on, he obtained a court order stopping his arrest till when he surrendered to the International Criminal Court in the year 2020. In June this year, both the prosecution and the defense teams made their final submissions, leaving the matter in the hands of trial chamber of the International Criminal Court, which was yet to deliver a verdict until Gicheru's death. In 2016, the court ruled out the case facing President William Ruto due to lack of sufficient evidence. On the other hand, the Law Society of Kenya, where Gicheru was a member, has issued a press statement condoling with the family, colleagues and friends of the Paul Gicheru, urging the police to conduct diverse investigations for justice to prevail. Shadrach Simiyu, reporting for KUTV.
Thank you so much, Shadrach Simiyu, for bringing us to speed with the story, and we hope that after the post-mortem we shall get to know the exact cause of death of lawyer Paul Gicheru, and also very important that justice be served. Now, the Ministry of Health has placed 20 counties on high alert for Ebola virus infection following the rising of reported cases in neighboring country Uganda. Acting Health Director General Dr. Patrick Amoth stated on Tuesday at a press briefing that the risk of the Ebola virus spreading to Kenya is as a result of the massive human traffic between Kenya and Uganda via the Busia and Malaba ground crossing points.
Since the outbreak of Ebola virus on Kenya's neighboring Uganda, Kenya has been on the lookout to keep the virus at bay. On Tuesday, September 27th, the Ministry of Health in Kenya placed 20 counties on higher alert for Ebola virus infection as cases in Kenya's western neighbor Uganda rise. Acting Health Director General Dr. Patrick Amoth stated that the counties of Busia, Nakuru, Kiambu, Nairobi, Kajiado, Machakos, Macrine, Taita Taveta, Mombasa, Kwale and Kericho are at high risk of infection. The ministry points Nairobi and Mombasa counties as high-risk entry points for the Ebola virus as they host Jomo Kenyatta and Moi international airports. Uganda confirmed its first infection on September 11th following the death of a 24-year-old male living in Gabano village, Mubenda district. Uganda Virus Research Institute found a rare Ebola virus strain of Ebola Sudan from the man's blood specimen. In the last 24 hours, the Ministry of Health of Uganda has updated of a total of 36 cumulative cases, where 18 have been confirmed positive for the virus and 18 probable cases confirmed, and 18 are based on probability as the death toll from the virus shoots to 23. The ministry has asked Kenyans to look out for the symptoms of the disease, such as bleeding from body openings, a running stomach, high fever, a cough characterized by chest pains, and skin rash. Kenya has not yet reported any case of Ebola. Jeff Mwangi, KUTV.
And it's also very important, of course, for Kenyans to be cautious of the disease. During the press briefing, of course, the Director General in the health sector, Dr. Patrick Amoth, stated some of the symptoms that you should be watching out for, so that we don't get to be infected with the deadly disease. Now, Kenya joined the rest of the world in commemorating the World Tourism Day, which is usually celebrated every 27th day of September annually. The theme for this year is Rethinking Tourism, which aims at restructuring tourism for development, including through education, jobs, and tourism impact on the planet and opportunities to grow more sustainably.
The nation witnessed celebrations today as the world commemorated the World Tourism Day. It is a day commemorated annually on the 27th of September to sensitize the world on the importance of tourism. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja flagged off the World Tourism Day event at City Hall, which saw performances by dancers dressed in different traditional attires with beautiful ornaments. Narok conservatives led by Professor Metame Oledapash also joined the World Tourism Day celebrations. They urged the government to take account on the declining tourism industry, particularly in the Mara. Professor Metame continued by saying that the Ministry of Tourism needs to do a good job of marketing on Kenya's tourism to ensure that its value does not decline.
Leo ikiwa ni siku ya kitaifa ya utalii, tunajifunia sana tukiwa Wakenya kwamba kwa miaka karibu sasa 40 Kenya imeweza kushikilia nafasi nzuri zaidi katika mambo ya utalii.
He also asked the Ministry of Tourism not to concentrate on PR alone, but also on improving the product. Metamay notes that if the Kenyan tourism industry is not taken care of, the wildebeest migration could overrun the Masai Mara as a popular tourist site.
Mwaka huu it was the shortest, ili last mwezi moja peke yake. Tulikuwa tunapata hata miezi 4, miezi 5. Siku hizi hiyo wildebeest inakuja, hao wildebeest wanakuja wanakuwa hapo Masai Mara kwa muda mfupi sana kama mwezi moja. Na utalii ina respond kwa hiyo kwa kuwa pia mara kwa muda mfupi sana. So kama tulikuwa na usafiri ama watalii wanakuja kwa miezi 4, kwa sababu migration iko mara kwa miezi 4. Sasa unaweza kuta wanakuja kwa mwezi 2 ama mwezi moja. Hiyo ni revenue inapotea.
Tourism is an important sector to the Kenyan economy as it diversifies the economy and boosts other sectors such as transport, food and beverages, entertainment and textiles. For KUTV, I am Teresia Maluki.
And residents of Kario neighborhood yesterday held demonstrations over the construction of the multi-billion-dollar Kariminu 11 dam in Gatundu North Sub-County at the water treatment plant. Regarding the construction of the dam, they claim that despite not being considered in the water supply, the contractors damaged their nearby rivers.
In Karoiwa, Gatundu North Sub-County, residents had earlier on held demonstration of a multi-billion-dollar dam alias Kariminu Dam. The residents claim that the Chinese contractors building the dam have been channeling raw sewage from their homes into the nearby Kangunu River, which serves as the primary source of water for residential usage and other uses. According to the area residents, there has been a severe water deficit in the area as a result of river pollution, which has affected their only remaining source of water. The locals say, despite bringing up the issue with the Athi Water Development Authority, still there has not been any solution.
Baya, tungeomba serikali tusaidie. Hawa sasa watatuua. Ruto, tafadhali tusaidie, utaugiria imabo. Kwa sababu tumefinyiliwa sana na hawa saina. Ukiogea unapeleka kwa Mwagi Participation.
Kuna maji yenye wanapeleka huko chini. Hii huku hawana septic. So maji yote ya taka, uchafu, kuna mafia umbwa, kuna mafia hata hatujui kama kuna mafia yote imepelekwa kwa mto. So tunahofia hapa kunaweza patikana ugonjwa, watu wanaumia. Hatuna maji ya safi ya kukunywa.
They fear for a possible disease outbreak from the sewage if no action is taken. With the construction of the dam, the residents also would no longer be able to enjoy fresh river water anymore. Priority was intended to be given to them in providing water supplies among other CSR initiatives before they relinquished their land for the dam's construction, but this is not the case.
Tuwe na subira bila Madam Ospidi amesema. Hivyo tu itatendeka na tutaandika barua, tutaandikia county commissioner, mimi nitaandikia county commissioner aongee na governor kuhusu maji.
The agreement for locals to get over 70% of the manual jobs was not honored. Deputy County Commissioner for Gatundu North, Julius Kavita, however, spoke to the protesters and requested the farm to clean the river. For KUTV, I am Susan Wayaki.
On my chronometer, it's 15 minutes past the top of the hour. That gives us time to take our first break here on KTV Primetime News. And of course, we still have much for you, including the discussion of the night on the strategic administrative strategies, which we've seen, of course, the Deputy President, Dr. William Samuel Ruto, naming his cabinet. Just a lot for you. Just stay with us. See you on the other side.
Driving and riding without incidences on the road is such an amazing experience. But do you know while many road traffic crashes are avoidable, human behavior continues to be the leading cause. Speeding, lane indiscipline, drunk driving, distracted driving, failure to wear a helmet, and failure to use available pedestrian ways have been flagged by NTSA as the fatal 6 behaviors likely to lead to a fatal crash and serious injuries. As part of the Usalama Barabarani campaign, we request all road users to prevent these fatal 6 behaviors for their own safety and that of others. When driving, ensure your speed is within the stipulated limits. The road ahead is clear before overtaking. Stick to your lane. Keep left unless carefully overtaking. You're well rested if driving on long distances, and you never drink and drive. Usalama Barabarani starts with you. Fika Salama. This message is brought to you by the National Transport and Safety Authority and the European Union.
Fine dining is a unique and sophisticated experience that you're not going to find in normal dining restaurants right here in our country. In this new season, we are going to be bringing you this amazing experience right in your dining tables and even in your kitchen. I'm your chef and host, John International 254, and this is your favorite show, our Delicacy Show.
Ukiwa na dukuduku la michezo, tunafungua sanduku la dukuduku kwa ufahamu zaidi. Kila danadana, mitimko, mifiatuko na harakati zote ugani, sisi ni wako mwandani. Kukurukakara zote nyanjani, haziwezi kuangaziwa zaidi ya micharazo michezoni. Mimi mwanaspoti wako matata Peter Pinches Mwaora, ndakuwa na jopo lenye maarifa sufufu, nikufahamishe na nikuburudishe wewe shabiki.
KUTV, in conjunction with Kenyatta University Funeral Home, is now offering death announcements immediately following our news bulletins at 7 p.m. At this sorrowful time, as you share in your grief, allow us to communicate your announcement of your loved one on KUTV in both Kiswahili and English. For more details, kindly inquire at the KU Funeral Home Service Desk or call 0736 928 380 or dial 020-359-9054.
All of them started here, that's why they are swimming for Kenya. It's only that they advance to the point of getting opportunities abroad. The talent that we have here, raw talent, is enormous.
Welcome to Children's Corner. Welcome to
Children's Corner.
Children's
Corner.
Fine dining is a unique and sophisticated experience that you're not going to find in normal dining restaurants right here in our country. In this new season, we are going to be bringing you this amazing experience right in your dining tables and even in your kitchen. I'm your chef and host, John International 254, and this is your favorite show, our Delicacy Show.
How are you doing? My name is Katali Kenya and I will be bringing you the full packed entertainment show in the 254. Talk about trending topics on the industry 411.
When these people were doing the things they've been accused of, was I there?
We're bringing you the biggest upcoming and sizzling artists in East Africa coming through.
So then I got a call from Shafiweru. And he asked me, wewe, unataka kufanya radio ama ni nini?
Nikiwa solo artist, sema nilikuwa careful.
The biggest concerts and events going down in East Africa. As well as articulating youth issues that matter.
There's a lot of stress and strain that is associated with early parenthood.
This is the full pack entertainment show that you cannot afford to miss every Monday from 8 p.m. This is the Scrunch Show, and see you there.
If you're just joining us, you're streaming live this broadcast on our social media platforms on Facebook, KUTV Kenya, on Twitter, KUTV_Kenya, on YouTube, KUTV Kenya Live. If you might be having, of course, what you think, your opinion concerning the bulletin, concerning, of course, the interview, the discussion that we shall be having with my guests concerning the strategic appointment that we have seen the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, making today. He shall be telling us just on the comment section. We shall be engaging throughout this discussion. And of course, during the appointment we have seen today, Dr. William Samoei Ruto clarifying the roles of each of probably the new position that was created for Musalia Mudavadi in his cabinet, so that they don't clash probably with the duties of the second in command, Rigathi Gachagua. And in his address this evening, President William Ruto made a candid outline of the duties of the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. Emmanuel Kutosi, who is a political analyst, brings us to speed with the second in command's task in the new government.
His Excellency President William Ruto has made a clarified outline of his deputy Rigathi Gachagua's roles. In an address at State House, Nairobi, the President pinpointed Rigathi's duties, which include to deputize the President in the execution of all presidential functions that are allowed by the Constitution and law, chair public committees, oversee implementation of cabinet decisions across ministries and departments, coordinate intergovernmental relations between the government and county governments, including chairing the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, IBEC, be the liaison between the constitutional commissions and independent offices in matters that require intervention by the national government, including budget policy formulation and implementation of their recommendations, to coordinate the planning and supervise the implementation of development partners funded programs and projects, to oversee public sector reforms and any other functions assigned to him from time to time. The roles, Ruto said, will be gazetted upon the issue of an executive order. In the previous regime, Ruto had run-ins with the former President Uhuru Kenyatta on his duties, particularly after the 2018 handshake. Ruto seemingly learning from the past to ensure a similar occurrence bears no root in his government.
My good deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, who I have a lot of regard for standing with me and working extra hours and being part of my support team. I promised my deputy is going to be a very busy person.
And President William Ruto today unveiled his cabinet, which is comprising of 21 cabinet secretaries who will be in charge of various dockets appointed by the cabinet secretaries are expected to be presented to the parliament for consideration. President Ruto also promised that other cabinet appointments will follow soon. All right, it's also very impressive to get to note that the President, William Ruto, noted that in his administration, you have seen new faces. Maybe just to mention a few, we have seen Musalia Mudavadi being accorded the position of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Kithure Kindiki, Professor, taken to the Interior Cabinet Secretary docket. We have seen, of course, Njuguna Ndung'u to head the Treasury. Aden Duale appointed to the Defense as the Defense Cabinet Secretary. Aisha Jumwa, of course, taken to the Public Service, and to the Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Ministry. It's been allocated to Dr. Alfred Mutua. The Ministry of Lands has been allocated to Zakaria Mwangi Njeru. Mithika Linturi given the position of the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock Development. Susan Nakumicha Wafula is taking over in the health docket. Alice Wahome taking over the position of the Water and Sanitation Cabinet Secretary. We also have Moses Kuria taken to the docket of Trade Cabinet Secretary, and in the East African Community shall be headed by Rebecca Miano, as Kipchumba Murkomen taking over the Roads, Transport and Public Works Ministry. And of course, you're also seeing a new change in the cabinet, in the position of the Environment and Forestry, which shall be headed by Soipan Tuya. It was very important that in the tourism sector, which the world was commemorating the World Tourism Day, and the sector which has been headed for a very long time by Najib Balala is now being taken over by Penina Malonza. In the communication docket, we have Eliud Owalo, and of course, moving on, someone who will be replacing a very senior most learned Cabinet Secretary in the education docket is Ezekiel Machogo, who is replacing our very powerful CS, education CS, CS George Magoha. And in the Energy Ministry, we've seen David Chirchir taking over that docket, and of course Babu Namwamba, who was very close with the president during his inauguration the day he took office. We've seen him today, of course, being awarded the position in the Cabinet Secretary docket of the Youth Affairs Ministry, and Simon Chelugui in the cooperatives and the mining and the blue economy. We've seen we have now Salim Vuria, and finally in the Labour Ministry, which shall be headed by Miss Florence Bore. Just a lot of appointments that you've seen today, and of course this will probably make the basis and underscore the discussion of the night, and being joined by very good political analyst in the field. We have Miso Victor, who is a senior most political analyst, and of course we're also having Masika, who is a youth leader in the Ford Kenya party. So thank you so much, gentlemen, really for joining us for this discussion. And what we've seen today, it's a new administration, because the president, rather, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, is now up to task with what the task that the Kenyans gave him to, serve him for the next 5 years, that is in the next one term. And based on the appointment that you have seen today, the people that you have seen taking over these positions, we'll just start with you, Victor Misu. What is your take? What do you feel about the appointment, the new faces that you have seen William Ruto giving them dockets to serve him to help him run the administration?
Thank you so much for inviting me over here. It's always a pleasure. And what I'll say, the long wait is finally over. We've been waiting since 9th of August, since the elections took place. A doctor will tell you that the kid was in labor, and finally the kid is born. President Ruto, with his own wisdom, he has named his cabinet. There are the hits, there's the miss, but at the end of the day, it's our cabinet. We have to accept it as Kenyans. We don't have any other cabinet, so let's support and rally behind the new formed government.
All right. And now, Masika, you're a youth leader, of course, in the Ford Kenya party, which gave the 13th Parliament the speaker, that is Moses Wetangula. So we've seen the new faces, of course, taking over these dockets in the cabinet, the dockets of the cabinet secretaries. So what do you make of the appointment that you've seen President William Ruto making today?
My friend Omondi, thank you so much. I would like to say that actually this has been a long-waited period with Kenyans, and that actually, as my friend Victor just said, it has dawned, it has been, it has happened, and that the list have been drawn. What I'd like to urge Kenyans, personally, I would like to say that Dr. William Ruto believes in his team.
Right.
In that when such a person has trust and sees that he is capable of standing with him, making his work more easier, then I urge Kenyans to also have trust, to believe and move on with the appointed list, so as we see whereby in the next 5 years, what work or what will they have done for we Kenyans.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. just to get back to you, since the list was read, the new appointments, of course, that were made by the the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, we have seen, of course, something that has sparked, talks online. The appointment of some of the leaders. One thing that has really came out is people talking of competency in some of these appointments, in some of these dockets, because we're finding very powerful dockets being held by people that I don't know, they least expected. But the president, of course, had faith in them because you can't just name someone out of the blues to occupy the cabinet secretary positions. And what I'm talking about is the online spies that we've seen is on Aden Duale, who's been given the docket of the defense, and we're also having Aisha Jumwa together with Mithika Linturi, who was previously the senator. So some of these appointments, the people that you have seen, it's like the powerful position that we just talked about. What's your opinion? Because it's sparked an online uproar.
Yeah, and actually, it's been a huge debate the whole day. People have been discussing. What I can say from my analysis is that a cabinet position is more so of a political position.
Yes.
Because if as arguments, as people are trying to argue, we need to reward competency. Yes, I do agree we need to reward competency, but what this government is unique in a way. So many stakeholders sacrificed, so many people were prosecuted, and it's good to see that President Ruto has rewarded loyalty at the end. He's given appointments to people who has been with in the trenches, the likes of Kipchumba Murkomen, who was haunted from his position as a majority leader, the likes of Aisha Jumwa, who had so many cases of graft that they said that it was more of persecution. Mithika Linturi. So these are people who were with Dr. Ruto from the beginning, and we've seen Ruto very determined to fulfill all the promises that he made. But what I could say, Kenyans have nothing to worry, Kenyans have nothing to fear, because a CS position, as I said earlier, it's more of a political position, except in some of the dockets. But the most important things that we need to focus on right now is the appointment of PS. PS says since 2013 we've seen that PSs are more of the CEOs of the ministries. The PSs do the dirty work, the groundwork, everything. So I think the thinking of Dr. Ruto and his people when they're coming up with the list, we're going to see the dockets that Kenyans are trying to say that, those people they're not, they are merit-based. We're going to see the PSs who are more competent compared to the CSs. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with awarding your friends.
All right.
Because as we see in politics, you need to have people who are loyal to you.
Yes.
When thick comes to thick, who is going to stick with you?
Right.
Ruto has been cautious to name a cabinet that is all-inclusive. We've seen appointments like J.B. Muturi being the Attorney General. We never knew where Muturi was going to fit, but finally Muturi is there. And subsequently, we've seen some big names that were expected for them to feature on the list have been left out. And my thinking, Dr. Ruto said that we're going to see subsequent more appointments in the coming days.
Yes.
For example, we've seen very genius move. There are competent people in the cabinet. We've seen CS for finance or treasury, the CSO, he was actually the CBK governor during Kibaki's era. So we've seen Ruto trying to poach some of the best minds that were there when the economy was being turned around. We've seen the appointment of Susan, who is the health for the CS for health.
Yes,
Susan has a PhD. Susan Ofula actually has a PhD in the supply chain. And you see, doctors have been up in arms. Oh, why don't we have our own? But we need to remind doctors, the Ministry of Health is wide. It's not about the hospital.
Sure.
The Ministry of Health needs a lot of expertise. But we're going to see either the PS or the Director General of Health comes from the doctors' fraternity. So there's nothing for us to worry about. There's nothing for us to... Kenyans are entitled to opinions, but let's give the cabinet that is in the full support they need. Let's pray hard that they deliver what they promised.
All right. That's so impressive of you, Misu. Now, to get back to you, Misika. Now, we've seen, of course, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, at a point, Misu was telling us that it's very important that even in this political arena that in the people that you want to serve with, in your administration, it's very important that you also reward loyalty. People who will stand by you when things are tough, when things are thick. And probably that is what you have seen, because in your party that you're representing as a youth leader, Ford Kenya, the promise was made to Moses Masika Wetangula that he will be the third in command, of course, constitutionally as the Speaker of the National Assembly. So is it really the same thing that you're seeing with this appointment in the cabinet secretaries? Is it more of loyalty against competency? Because it's also very important that in as much as, yes, you're wanting loyalty to the people who stood by you during the thick times, you also need to look at the competency of the people that you are awarding. So what do you make of it on the weight of competency and, of course, loyalty in awarding these positions?
Yeah, Omondi. First, I'd like to start by saying that competency in any field is always in merit. There's no practice within or from a group of persons, as far as leadership is concerned, that will lack what we call competency.
Right.
So I would like to start by saying that those new faces you are talking about. First, as I said before, that President-elect William Ruto believed and was sure with these persons.
Yes.
There's no way you can go through hardness, you can work. Then there's someone standing with you. At the end of the day, you get what you've been looking for, then setting aside for someone else. So I think person for the like of Moses Kuria and Duale deserved what they have been given.
Right.
They deserved it, and I would like to appreciate the president for staying meaningful to his loyal persons, and that as a youth, I've learned a lot, and I've learned more that in any field, staying loyal and being focused to what you're looking for, what you're after, is so important.
All right, you've really heavily championed on the aspect of loyalty. What about the aspect of competency? Because that's what's bringing uproar from the Kenyans.
Yeah, in terms of competence, I would like to inform you that actually there are those big faces that people who are like, this one is going to get it, this one is going to miss it, but at the end of the day, you've seen that the president-elect stood firm. I can't tell the forms he used, but trust me not.
Right.
He got that indeed, he got the powers, he got all styles, strategic means of getting a desired person in that field. This is my friend Victor just said, Susan Ofula.
Ofula, yes.
In fact, I never knew whether such a person will deserve such a post. There are big names that maybe a lot of Kenyans were expecting. But at the end of the day, you have received such a name.
Right.
You can see my friend Babu Namamba, given sports. You see, those are some of the positions that someone never expected to go to such persons.
Absolutely.
So, in terms of competence, I would just like to inform us that competence is there. People will, Kenyans let me just say Kenyans, because it's in with us.
Yes.
Kenyans always give opinions, but by the end of the day, this is what has been done, this is what has happened, and I urge us to remain supportive, to be positive, and to stay to the measure towards
all right, impressive. Now, Mr. just to get back to you, we have seen names that people least expected in some of these dockets, and of course it's also important that in his appointments you have seen people who are, like you just noted, that people who really did well during the Kibaki's reign, some of them coming back, but we have also seen people who served well during the reigns of the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, but where people, because the first meeting that the president was having was with the cabinet secretaries who served in the previous government, in the Jubilee government, which was headed by the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. And people were expecting probably that some of these cabinet secretaries who were so competent, rather, will be, some of the faces probably will be seen in the appointments that were made today. So now that we didn't see most of them retaining their seats, or rather being taken into different dockets, very few of them were retained. Could it be that President William Ruto was facing out leaders who, in a way, because we also seen a resignation, of course, coming from a very senior government official, people who stood by the former president and his favorite candidate, now paving way so that president does his things the way he thinks, because there were allegations earlier during the campaigns that some of these cabinet secretaries were frustrating his candidacy.
First of all, I would like to disagree with my friend here. You know, the people from the Luya nation should be the one complaining right now. From my analysis, I think the Luya nation was shortchanged in the cabinet position, and it's an unpopular opinion. But let's see, there are only 3 Luyas in the cabinet.
I mean, if you know the cabinet positions that were named today, there were only 21. We tried to do analysis of probably the ethnic backgrounds. We're seeing ethnically they're a bit balanced, because we're having 47 tribes in Kenya, and if these 47 tribes were to be awarded probably each position, you see they have outweighed, they have outnumbered the positions of the cabinet secretary. So maybe let us not delve into that much in this conversation. I
do agree. The reason as to why I'm coming up with that point is because during the campaign there was the Kenya Kwanza, they had a document that they signed with the likes of Mudavadi and Wetangula.
Yes.
They talk of they were promised a certain percentage of government if they deliver a certain number of votes. And I was just pointing out that so far I've seen only 3 lawyers cabinets, and the position that they're given does not suit to what they brought in the table. That's just my analysis. And to your point about why is it that some of them competent CSs that were previously in the previous regime were left out? I will really say there's no one who is competent, considering that the Kenya Kwanza government have been campaigning on the platform that the economy has been dilapidated, the country has been mismanaged. So you didn't expect to see the same people that they were accusing of destroying the economy, mismanaging, using the DCI. We don't see the same CSs to be reappointed. And there's also another talk in town that they're saying there's some CSs who are $1 billion. They have stole from the public, and they're worth more than $4 billion, of which those are allegations which we see if they're going to hold in court or not. So from that analysis, I will say that the reason as to why we don't see the CSS that were in the previous is because the previous regime has been tainted already by the current administration. So it will be ludicrous to see them retaining some of the same. Maybe we see the PSS. The PSS were not much political. Some were really doing their work. So let's see if he's going to accommodate some of them. And about the big names that they have turned on their resignation. I'm from the school of thought that the rule of law should always be upheld.
Yes.
Why am I saying this? We've seen Achieng bring in his resignation, and yes, President Ruto has appointed Japhet Koome as the new Inspector General, which is unconstitutional because we both know the steps that are needed to appoint an Inspector General of Police, which is simply the National Police Service is going to gazette. After gazettement, people are going to apply, then the names before the president. But we've seen the whole process has been ignored. We've already gone to the tail end. Someone has been appointed. Where will the people be vetted? Who is going to do the appointment? Who is going to do the guest? So for this, President Ruto is the big miss out. He needs to go and talk to his advisors who will tell them that actually going out and giving declaration which are unconstitutional should not be tolerated from the first day of his term.
But of course, he's also named the Attorney General, that is Justin Muturi. Of course, probably these are the people who advise the president, and the people who are surrounding the president, very high legal minds, because we are also seeing someone who was a potential being the running mate, that is Professor Kithure Kindiki, also being in the cabinet. You see, these are people that probably might have advised the president to do whatever is done by passing, of course, what the Constitution requires in appointing an IG of police. So don't you think probably they have their valid reasons which they would defend in court? Because even the president, his win was questioned in court, and these are the same legal minds who defended his win. Probably, I think now we give Maseka to weigh in on that.
Yeah, I would like to say, I would like first to thank you for saving my friend here, because he was just landing to the other side where he was raising Otieno as far as the law is concerned. Because I don't think that time from when the president named his cabinet, I don't think there's any lawyer person who was vetted in and saying, no, you promised us this and this, why are you not doing so? That means we're satisfied. We are good.
Right.
And we want to move on.
And most importantly, of course, maybe just to add on that is that what the focus of the president is not serving the interest of an ethnic group, but serving the interest of Kenyans at large.
Yeah, very true.
Right.
Yeah, I think my friend need to true.
They say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts more. Why am I saying this? If you're a politician, the currency, we've said the currency is loyalty, and the next currency as a politician is keeping up your word.
Yes.
If we choose to congratulate you on the good things, we also criticize you on the missteps that you'll be doing. Why am I saying? I'm a very adamant supporter, a Kenya Kwanza supporter, but I'm the caliber of supporters who look at things objectively and points out where the shoe hurts. As we go by, we've seen our opposition disoriented. We've seen there's no zeal in the other to check the government. So the only people who are left to check on the government are the civil society and like-minded people like us who don't subscribe to sycophancy or anything, because I'm a fan. I'm not going to just push you. When the king is naked, we will tell him, and we have no apology for that. The most notable appointment that made me happy is the appointment of Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki as the Interior CS. Kindiki has been there. The police has been used against him. So we need to see, is he going to do the same to the same that was done to him, or is he going to uphold the rule of law? And he's a very brilliant person. His caliber in matters law, caliber in matters administration, no one can argue with him. And another appointment that I think was a hit, appointment of Salim Mvurya. The coastal people, I like talking about the coastal because I come from the coast. The coastal people, we've reaped big, and saying the coastal people, when people talk about the coastal people, traditional as we've been Mombasa,
yes.
Mombasa has been regarded as coast, but now we've seen a shift from the political coast contest, yes. because we've seen appointment of Aisha Juma from Kilifi County, Salim Vuria from Kwale County. We've seen appointment of Kingi, yes. As a senator speaker from Kilifi County. So we've seen, I'm trying to see, is it a deliberate move from the Ruto to try to stabilize the voting bloc of the opposition in Mombasa by creating another heroes in the same
regions, of course. But because now you're also seeing, of course, what happened in Mombasa County, the governorship of that county, where it went is not in government. Maybe because of the interest of time, the director is telling me that we need to wind this up. So, as political analyst, I want you to have a word, of course, for the Kenyans concerning the appointment that we have seen, because you're also expecting other appointments to come in the PS positions, and in terms of delivery, if the government is to deliver, it's not a function of the government alone, it's also the input of the Mwananchi, it's also needed. So maybe we'll start with you, Masika, as a youth leader. Give us an insight, rather advise the citizens on how they should work with the government. Should they embrace the appointment that we have seen today, moving forward?
Okay, in the Kenyan constitution, it is stated that after every 5 years, we will have an election. And whether it's through region or through fair election, by the end of the day we come out with a person we call a president. So what I would like to say is that the government that have been elected in, what we expect as Kenyans, I'm sure the president-elect William Ruto.
He's not the president. He's not the president.
Yes. So President William Ruto, what I know personally, is going to deliver. What I've learned from, what I've been informed, what I've got from my party leader, that is Masika Moses Wetangula, concerning the President, William Ruto, I would like to assure Kenyans that not all, but with time, the manifestos that have been projected by the President, William Ruto, are going to be put in place.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it. And Miso, just a minute, kindly wind up as you.
So my take tonight will be so simple. For government to perform, President Ruto needs to weed out very few elements. He needs to weed out corruption. As he said, he's going to strengthen institution. I hope he keeps up to word, because as much as whoever becomes the CS in whatever position, it doesn't matter. Even if you, I remember there was a time Professor PLO, one of the people that I know with high integrity, was leading the ESCC, but he didn't perform. Why? You can put the best person, you can even put the Pope himself to head a certain ministry. But if there's corruption, if they cannot solve issues, matter procurement, still trying to seal the 2 billion shillings that we say to be lost every day, then so the only way Ruto needs to do is to cut corruption from the neck.
Right.
That's all.
All right, and of course that will steer development in the right direction. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your input on the discussion. Moving forward, President William Ruto has announced that he had received and subsequently accepted the resignation of Director of Criminal Investigations, the DCI boss George Kinoti. The Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutyambai, has also proceeded on a terminal leave.
President William Ruto has announced that the Director of Criminal Investigations, George Kinoti, has called it quits. During his tenure, the DCI made a number of arrests that Ruto's camp deemed targeted, a move believed to have put Kinoti at loggerheads with the current president. The president further revealed that he had accepted Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai's request for terminal leave. President William Ruto has nominated former Nairobi County boss Japheth Koome, who is currently the commandant of the National Police Service College in Kiganjo, to the position of Inspector General of Police. Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai has retired, citing health reasons. The announcement was made by President William Ruto today in the afternoon as he unveiled his new cabinet at State House, Nairobi. On 26th of August 2022, Mutyambaye proceeded on leave for medical reasons and appointed Noor Gabo to serve in the position he had served since 2019.
Let's now take a look at what's happening in the world of sports. Now, Awendo Football Academy, which is a non-profitable academy from Migori, is assisting talented children from the needy families to access secondary school education. The initiative, which was started in 2009, has restored hope for over 300 students who have accessed education, with some being absorbed into some of the country's top clubs.
Many are the times when bright minds from poor backgrounds end up indulging in drug abuse and other vices due to lack of hope. However, this football academy from Migori has beaten all odds by nurturing young talents while ensuring they access secondary school education through scholarships. The academy, which was established in 2009, has been the bridge for over 300 students over the years. Dennis Otondi, the coach and sponsor of Awendo Academy, says they have linked up with schools from the region who have always offered to give scholarships to the talented youths while also absorbing them into their school teams. The initiative, which is currently sponsoring over 50 high school students in Nyanza, North Rift and Western region, has also seen a number of alumni shine at the summit of Kenyan football.
So Awendo Academy, one of the venue ya youths wenye wako area hapa within Migori County, ili tusaidia vijana ili wafikie malengo yao. So after scouting tukapata wako na talent. So we went to concur with a lot of schools ili tuwasaidia vijana ili wasome despite wako na challenges ya school fees.
Otondi, however, notes that the journey has not been short of challenges.
Some of the people, they are negative about what we are doing. Despite what we tunasaidia is the vijana wanatoka within Migori County, within Awendo, them because they think that we get a lot of money. Like this thing is a voluntary. You help these people. So the community inakuanga na challenge sana.
The coach calls upon FKF and other stakeholders to come on board and ensure academies that field players to junior levels benefit from equipment to help nurture more players at the grassroots level. Lincoln Chege, KUTV.
And Italy claimed a place in the National League finals with a 2-0 win away to Hungary, thanks to goals by Giacomo Raspadori and Federico Di Marco in the last leg at that Group 3 game on Monday. Now, European champions Italy, who missed out on a place at the World Cup in Qatar, finished 1 point above the second place Hungary, who needed to avoid defeat to secure a place in their first Nations League semi-finals. Italy joined Croatia and the Netherlands in the next year's finals tournament, while Spain and Portugal will play today for the last spot available. In another match in England, England signed off with a thrilling 3-3 draw against the rivals Germany at Wembley in what their final match before heading to the World Cup in Qatar later this year.